Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. You're on PRConnectionRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. So, the month of January 2023 has come to an end, and your Vegas Golden Knights, they have done pretty well on that end. But the Henderson Silver Knights, the Savannah Ghost Pirates, and more importantly, the UNLV Rebels Hockey, there is a lot to go over and a lot to discuss when it comes to prospects in the Vegas Golden Knights system. So, starting out, we might as well go to the Henderson Silver Knights and talk about their number one prospect, the top prospect in Vegas Golden Knights system. And of course, I'm talking about Brendan Bryson. Brendan Bryson, in his early career with the Vegas Golden Knights organization, it has been a bumpy transition, to put it nicely. Brendan Bryson, this is his second season as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights and a minor league roster. Last year, he only played in 7 games, but he ended up having 8 points with the Henderson Silver Knights. This year, in the month of January, 7 goals, 19 points, a -5 in 24 penalty minutes. So Brendan Bryson so far in the 2022-2023 season, only 7 goals and 19 points. So when you sit there and look and analyze at a number one prospect in your system, you really have to go on a game-by-game basis. Because, yes, you are absolutely right. Brendan Bryson should be performing at a better level for him being touted the number one prospect with the Vegas Golden Knights, especially someone who, once again, only 7 goals and 19 points in 35 games this year in the AHL. It's also the same Brendan Bryson who, in the month of January, he scored a goal against the Abbotsford Canucks on the 6th of January. He also had back-to-back goals against the Colorado Eagles on the 21st and 22nd. He also had a multi-point game against the Calgary Wranglers on January 13th, and he had a multi-goal point game against Colorado on the 22nd. So, if you take it on a game-by-game basis, in the month of January, Brendan Bryson had 3 goals and he had 4 assists in the month of January. So, you know what? Take it for what as you want. But when it comes to Brendan Bryson, the month of January, him only having 7 points in this month, it really kind of surprises you when you really sit back and really observe the fact that they played 13 games in the month of January, so he only averaged half a point per game in the month of January. It's also the same Brendan Bryson that in the month of January, man, his plus minus, wow. He had a -7 in the month of January. I mean, this is somebody that unfortunately just has had a negative plus minus for a good amount of the year. So, really, what can you expect from Brendan Bryson at this point? Yes, he has had 2 power play goals. Yes, he has had 1 game-winning goal in the year 2022-2023. He has put up 76 shots, which is about 9% shooting percentage. So, as somebody who sits and watches the Vegas Golden Knights, as someone who studies Henderson Silver Knights, is Brendan Bryson really Vegas's number one prospect? Is Brendan Bryson at this moment in time, is he performing like a first round pick should? Is he performing like the Vegas Golden Knights wanted him to perform? Because I know what some people are going to say. He is only in his second season playing professional hockey. He is only 21 years old. It is going to take time for a 21-year-old to eventually develop, to eventually mature and grow as a hockey player. But here's where my argument kind of ends. And here's where that argument kind of ends, and my argument will start to continue. We have current NHLers who are 18 years old. We have current NHL players who are 19, 20, even 21, who are putting up 40, 50, even 60 points in the NHL. We have seen players who are at 21 years old be nominated to NHL All-Star games, not just AHL, NHL All-Star games. Heck, we even have a player who was drafted 1 year after Brendan Brisson, who was in the NHL All-Star game, in Matty Beniers. As a matter of fact, Matty Beniers went to University of Michigan on the same team as Brendan Brisson. Jack Hughes, an interesting situation there with Team USA. So for anyone trying to make the argument that reason why Brendan Brisson is not developing is because he is only 21 years old, the reason why he's not progressing is because he is in his second year of professional hockey. It's a very mute point when Matty Beniers, who went to the same University of Michigan as him, one draft class after Brendan Brisson, is in the NHL All-Star game. It really can't make an excuse that he's 21 years old when 21-year-old Jack Hughes is in the NHL All-Star game and has become a superstar in the NHL. I mean, if you want to go out and try to make that argument, that's nice. But what I'm saying to you is that at 21 years old, second year playing professional hockey, you should be seeing a little bit more at this point of Brendan Brisson, besides 7 goals, 19 points, and a -3 as his plus minus. But you know what? I want everyone in the chat and the comments down below, let me know. Do you think it's fair to say that Brendan Brisson, the number 1 prospect, Brendan Brisson, 2020 first-round pick, is it fair to say that Brendan Brisson is not living up to the expectations, to the billing of being a first-round pick with the Vegas Golden Knights? Would it be fair to say that Brendan Brisson has not been performing like a number 1 prospect, like a top prospect in a team's organization should be performing? So, as we move on from Brendan Brisson, how about we talk about a prospect that actually is living up to expectations? Why not discuss a prospect who has arguably been the best player on the Vegas Golden Knights farm system this season, and that is 20-year-old defenseman Lucas Cormier. Now, Lucas Cormier is the number 2 top prospect in the Vegas Golden Knights system. He was taken in the 3rd round of the 2020 NHL draft. So he was taken 2 rounds after Brendan Brisson. But the reason why he is a number 2 prospect in the system, 6 goals, 18 assists, 24 points, 20 penalty minutes. And by the way, he has had 10 points on the power play, 2 of them being goals. And he has had 1 game-winning goal and 1 overtime goal with the Henderson Silver Knights. So how has Lucas Cormier performed as a Henderson Silver Knight in the month of January? How did he do? Well, he had a multi-point performance on January 6th against Abbotsford. He went a couple of games later, had a multi-point game in Calgary on June 13th. He got his first goal in January against the Colorado Eagles on the 21st, and then got his second goal of the month against the San Jose Barracudas on the 27th. So Lucas Cormier in the month of January, he did exceptionally well. Lucas Cormier had 9 points, 2 of them being goals, and his plus minus, surprisingly, is -2. So Lucas Cormier, -2 for his plus minus in the month of January, but 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points in the month of January for your Henderson Silver Knights. Now, what I can appreciate about Lucas Cormier is what he's been able to do as a defenseman. The fact that Lucas Cormier at 20 years old is showing the Vegas Golden Knights organization and is showing the locker room and the front office and the management. I should be in the NHL very soon. That if Lucas Cormier, is not in the NHL by the time I'm 21 years old, your host, Ian Rachiele, will be surprised. Because Lucas Cormier has really shown and really progressed and elevated his game in the last 2 seasons that he has been playing hockey. Because keep in mind, he was playing in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and he led all defensemen in that league in goals and points, and was nominated to the all first team in the KMJHL. And also in 2021-2022, Lucas Cormier was the winner of the Emile Bouchard Trophy, which goes to the KMJHL Defenseman of the Year. So the past 2 seasons that he has been playing in a hockey, he was Defenseman of the Year in juniors. He led defensemen in goals and assists in juniors. And he was nominated to all first team in juniors. And in his first season playing professional hockey for the Vegas Golden Knights, once again, 6 goals, 24 points, 20 penalty minutes in 41 games. So Lucas Cormier has done a fantastic job out here in Henderson as a prospect for your Vegas Golden Knights. And with him being a number 2 prospect in the Golden Knights farm system, a question pops up. I mentioned their number 1 prospect, Brendan Brisson, earlier in this episode. Now I'm talking about your number 2 prospect and Lucas Cormier. So really a question pops up. If Vegas wants to acquire a big name, if Vegas wants to go out and get a superstar, want to go out and get someone with an insane cap hit, who are you going to give up in that trade? Are you going to give up Brendan Brisson, your number 1 prospect, a former 2020 first-round pick, a guy that could develop and eventually grow as a hockey player if given a second chance, or Lucas Cormier, who has really become your best minor league hockey player of the year, and as your number 2 prospect, does have value to the Vegas Golden Knights? That's really a question you have to ask yourself. Kelly McCrimmon is going to ask himself, and George McPhee is going to ask himself. Because you have a situation where the Vegas Golden Knights are going to go get a big name. It's inevitable. But who they trade in order to get said big name, that's going to be fascinating. So getting over to the Savannah Ghost Pirates, let's talk about Alex Svetlikov. So Alex Svetlikov, he is a fascinating story because of the fact that he was an undrafted rookie free agent with the Vegas Golden Knights. He did not get drafted in the 2022 NHL draft. So instead, he signed with the Vegas Golden Knights, and he has been in the ECHL in his first season. So in his first season playing professional hockey for your Savannah Ghost Pirates in the AA ECHL, in 40 games played, 11 goals, 27 points, and 49 penalty minutes for Alex Svetlikov. So for a first season type of situation, he has done very well in year 1. And with him being an undrafted free agent, there is no guarantee that he will get a promotion to the AHL. Him being an undrafted free agent, it does not mean that he is going to be given certain opportunities that drafted players are going to get. Hey, look, I'm just addressing facts here. If you are a first-round pick, second-round pick, possibly third-round pick, you are going to be given higher priority than an undrafted rookie free agent. So, him having 27 points this year in the ECHL, I think that's doing pretty well for a first year as a professional hockey player. But it will be interesting to see what your Vegas Golden Knights do because of the fact that, once again, he does not have any security blankets around him. He does not have the job security that certain players have that are around in the ECHL. And speaking of, let's talk about the Golden Knights' 5th round pick in Patrick Gay. He is an exceptional story because of what you would need to know about him in terms of his junior career. So when it comes to Patrick, he had one of the best junior careers in the KMJHL. So for Patrick, I've actually looked up his credentials before. I've actually talked about him here on the show. And for someone that is only 19 years of age, I will point out that him right now in his career, he's doing pretty well. He is doing pretty well when you consider the fact that he is somebody that you're going to look at and you're going to say, you know what? The fact that this guy right here is getting an opportunity, that this guy is getting an opportunity to play professional hockey, I just look at it and say that is absolutely incredible. And I think that what he is doing in his career is exceptional. So Patrick Gay, who was drafted in the 5th round of the 2022 NHL entry draft, he had 55 goals, 104 points in his final season in 2021-2022 in the KMJHL. So he gets drafted in the 5th round, and he is playing in the ECHL for the Savannah Ghost Pirates. Well, in his first season playing professional hockey, in 27 games, 12 goals, 31 points, and only 10 penalty minutes. So him averaging over a point per game for the Savannah Ghost Pirates, that really shows you the talent that he has. He also had a little cup of coffee in the AHL for the Henderson Silver Knights, 2 goals, 4 points with the Henderson Silver Knights in limited action. So regardless if it's Alex Svetlikov or if it's Patrick Gay, the Savannah Ghost Pirates have not one but 2 players that could really be an impact to the Vegas Golden Knights organization. 2 players who are still young. They're 20, 21 years old, and they are going to be wanting opportunities at the AHL. And I believe that within this year or next year, both players are going to get an opportunity in the AHL playing out there in Henderson. So, very quickly, as we're talking about the prospects in January, let's go back to the Henderson Silver Knights real quick, because the Henderson Silver Knights, they have players on their teams who are not classified as prospects, but I have to acknowledge them. I have to give them their credit. So when it comes to the Henderson Silver Knights, the best player they have had this year, hands down, has actually been Sheldon Rampel. So Sheldon Rampel, the experienced AHLer, he has 12 goals, 20 assists on the year. I mean, this is someone at Sheldon Rampel who has had 1 or 2 games in the NHL for Vegas, but he has mainly been a long stalwart in the AHL, playing majority of the year out in Henderson. So he has actually had the best performing season so far with 12 goals, 32 points in Henderson. Next would be veteran Byron Fries, who has had 8 goals, 27 points, and 30 penalty minutes in around 40 games played. So Byron Fries, who once again had about 7 or 8 games, kind of experience in the NHL, the fact that he has come back and actually is one of the leading point scorers for the Henderson Silver Knights, that has been pretty well. I also have to mention Gage Quinney, the Las Vegas-born Gage Quinney. He leads the team with 19 goals on the year, 35 points in 42 games. In fact, he's one of the only ones that gets close to having a point per game. You also have Sakari Manninen, who has 3 goals and 18 points in 28 games played. Not bad for somebody who is in year 1 of his professional hockey career in North America. You also have Giannis Roundbeer, who has 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points in 33 games and a +4 as well. But I can't leave this guy out. He is the 24-year-old AHL All-Star representative of the Vegas Golden Knights, and that is Braden Bahal. And Braden Bahal is fascinating because of the fact that, he was in the AHL All-Star game. He's going to be doing all that. And Braden Bahal has been in the NHL for a couple of games. Then he comes back down to Henderson Silver Knights, and he has done pretty well on both teams. So, as we are talking about the Vegas Golden Knights prospect watch for January of 2023, I want to give some love to UNLV hockey and talk about Nick Flanders, the forward for UNLV hockey. I actually got to watch them play against Oklahoma Sooners in a recent matchup, and I will say that they killed it on Veteran Appreciation Night. They went all out when it came to the presentation, when it came to having the fans get riled up and be a part of the action. You also had the custom jerseys, the military jersey with loyalty and honor and respect and all that on the back of the jersey. So that was a nice touch. But yeah, Nick Flanders really caught my eye during that UNLV hockey game against Oklahoma. Now, despite the fact that UNLV absolutely beat the brakes off the Oklahoma Sooners in that game, Nick Flanders stood out for the fact that he was able to generate momentum on the offense. He was able to take certain situations and make it a positive and not a negative for UNLV hockey. I also want to mention that Nick Flanders has averaged a point per game this season for UNLV, 21 points in 21 games. And him and Cole Wyatt, who I've talked about on this show before, those are two that I would say are impact players for UNLV hockey. That Flanders and Wyatt are two players that you see on the ice making moves constantly throughout a UNLV hockey game. On defense, I would say Alec Johnson, Rob McCollum. Those are two that I would point out on a defensive end. So regardless if it is Flanders or Wyatt, McCollum, Johnson, regardless of who it is, UNLV hockey has been incredible this year, and Vegas Hockey Hub is going to continue to support UNLV hockey. Whenever I get a chance to go watch the UNLV Rebels hockey team out at City National, I absolutely do. I know that in the beginning of February, we're going to be going to their UNLV hockey game against Arizona, if I remember correctly. And for UNLV hockey, I will be doing photography, I will be running video, and I will be doing some research and trying to pick out certain things. So I will say for UNLV hockey, I will continue to support them. It's been a fantastic season for them. And hopefully they get a shot. Hopefully for UNLV hockey, it starts to get some attention. It really starts to get somebody attention as to how much talent is here with UNLV. Because I get it. When it comes to college hockey, the percentage of college hockey players that get to get any experience in the professional league is slim to none. I'm well aware of that. I am aware that when it comes to UNLV, there's like a 95% chance that, they're going to be playing UNLV and then that's going to be it. Just like Arizona State, Arizona, Oklahoma, regardless of what university it is, because of how many players are playing college hockey, I am aware that like 95% of rosters, they're never going to play professional hockey. I get that. But I always say that if all it takes is just one, all it takes is just one player to break through and play professional hockey to show everyone else that they can do it. All it takes is just one player from a small town to represent that small town as a professional hockey player. Or sometimes all it takes is for one team to eventually catch the attention of everybody else, and all of a sudden they're on the spotlight. So for UNLV Rebels hockey, I'm going to continue to support them all year long. And for Nick Flanders, Cole Wyatt, Rob McCollum, Alec Johnson, and the rest of the team for UNLV Rebels, I can say that I will continue to wish them nothing but the best for UNLV hockey. And with them continuing the season that they are now, I will be at some of their games. I will be cheering, rooting, and hoping them nothing but the best for the rest of the 2023 season for the UNLV Rebels. So this was another great edition of Vegas Hockey Hub, where we did our prospect watch for the Vegas Golden Knights. We talked about Brendan Bryson and Lucas Cormier for the Henderson Silver Knights. For the Savannah Ghost Pirates, we talked about Alex Swetlikoff and Patrick Gay. And from UNLV, we talked about Nick Flanders. So I will say to everyone watching around the world, this was another episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go.